What's up guys, thought I'd make a quick video today just to talk about hair shedding versus actual male pattern baldness. Stick around. Now I think the first thing to note here is that hair shedding is 100% normal. Now if you go to any dermatologist or hair loss specialist, I think they speculate on average 50 to 100 hairs per day is completely normal and not really indicative of male pattern baldness. This is due to the fact that each hair follicle has its own organism and has its own natural lifespan. If we look at this well-constructed graph here, each hair has its own life cycle, starting at the anagen phase to the catagen phase, telogen resting phase, and then the exogen shedding phase. Now, specialists typically assume that if we have around 100,000 hairs on our head for a normal healthy scalp, about 1% of those hairs at any given time, without any real male pattern baldness, will be in the shedding phase. So that's normal to find in your shower, on your bed, or on your side of your shoulder, whatever it might be. And oftentimes you won't even be noticing the shedding unless you're really paranoid about it or if it's something that you're trying to actually measure on a daily basis. Now, something that I think a lot of men struggle with, particularly in the early stages of male pattern baldness or in the progression of male pattern baldness, is determining whether or not, finding a clump of hair in the shower or on your bed is whether that's actually indicative of the fact that you're losing your hair permanently or if it's just normal shedding. You can look to factors like your siblings, your parents, and just keeping an eye on your own progression up the norward scale to determine if you're actually balding or just shedding hairs. As always, if you're very concerned and it's causing you stress or grief, consult a specialist because they typically have the suitable technology to be able to determine if your hair loss is shedding, which is normal, or if it's indicative of the progression of male pattern baldness. Now, if you don't want to quite fork out for a consultation at this moment, there are some pretty rudimentary DIY tests that you can perform at home. And I think the main ones are the hair pull test or the comb test. I've done both of these before, and quite frankly, wouldn't put much stock in them as the timing of your hair growth cycle can have a massive impact on the results towards either side of the equation. I remember I was literally counting individual hairs in the shower to see if my rate of shedding had changed. But things like how much hair product you applied, the frequency of how much you wash your hair as well, can all have an impact on the rate of hair shedding here. And the main issue that I see with these sorts of tests is that you typically don't even pay attention to hair shedding until there's almost been a step change in your own rate, which makes you even notice it in the first place. Now, if you have that baseline of, say, 30 hairs per shower, and then that suddenly jumps up to 100 hairs per shower, and there isn't any major stress or event in your life more broadly that could be more reflective of telogen effluvium, which is far more of a traumatic stress-induced type of hair loss, and typically isn't in that Norwood pattern, then I think it's probably 100% time to get a consultation and discuss the initial use of 5-AR inhibitors with your doctor. That's if you care about your hair loss. A lot of people don't care about hair loss, which is perfectly fine. Personally, though, I wasted quite a bit of time, probably almost upwards of a year, mucking around with these tests to see what was up with my shedding rates before I even began treatment. And for someone that has very aggressive hair loss, that can be the difference between needing a hair transplant down the line and being able to stave off further loss with the use of typical 5-AR inhibitors like finasteride or dutasteride if you're being more aggressive there. Now remember, if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, hit the bell. Have a great day. Cheers, guys. Bye.